Single dad helped a woman escape a pushy date, not knowing she was a billionaire falling for him. The little girl was crying in the rain. Her father stood beside her, holding a broken umbrella, trying to smile even though his own heart was falling apart. Across the street, inside an expensive restaurant glowing with golden lights, a woman sat frozen in fear as a man leaned closer and closer, refusing to take no for an answer. Neither the struggling single dad nor the frightened woman knew it yet. But within the next few minutes, one act of kindness would change both of their lives forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness still matters, if you believe good people deserve second chances, take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel for more inspiring stories. The rain came down hard that evening, turning the city streets into rivers of reflected light. Ethan Carter adjusted his worn jacket and looked down at his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. She was disappointed because the small bakery where they usually bought discounted cupcakes before closing had already shut its doors. Life had been difficult ever since Ethan lost his wife 3 years earlier. Cancer had stolen her slowly. The hospital bills had stolen everything else. The house was gone. The savings were gone. Even the future they had planned together had disappeared. Now Ethan worked long shifts as a maintenance technician in office buildings. He fixed broken elevators, repaired leaking pipes, and cleaned equipment that most people never noticed. It wasn't glamorous. It barely paid enough. But it kept food on the table. Most nights, after work, he came home exhausted, yet somehow still found the energy to help Lily with homework, make dinner, and read bedtime stories. Because she was all he had left. As Ethan and Lily hurried through the rain toward the bus stop, a sudden movement caught his attention through the restaurant window. A woman was standing up from her table. She looked elegant and successful, dressed in a dark coat and expensive clothes. But her face showed something very different. Fear. The man sitting across from her grabbed her wrist. Not violently enough to draw immediate attention, but firmly enough that she couldn't easily walk away. Ethan's stomach tightened. The woman tried to pull free. The man continued talking, smiling, insisting, blocking her path. Most people walking by ignored it. They assumed it wasn't their business. But Ethan remembered something his late wife always used to say. Sometimes people don't need heroes. Sometimes they just need one person willing to step in. Without thinking twice, Ethan grabbed Lily's hand and walked straight into the restaurant. The warm air hit him immediately. Several guests glanced at his wet clothes. The elegant atmosphere made him feel out of place. But he didn't stop. He walked directly toward the woman. Then he did something completely unexpected. He smiled warmly and said that he had finally found her. The woman blinked in confusion. Then something remarkable happened. She understood instantly. For a split second, relief flooded her eyes. She played along. Ethan acted as though she was a family friend he had been searching for. The pushy man protested. He claimed they were in the middle of an important date. Ethan calmly apologized and explained that there was an emergency involving her relatives. The woman immediately stood up. This time she pulled her hand away successfully. The man looked irritated. But under the gaze of nearby customers, he couldn't make a scene. Within moments, Ethan, Lily, and the woman were outside in the rain. The woman exhaled a shaky breath. Her hands trembled. She thanked Ethan repeatedly. Only then did he learn her name. Sophia Bennett. She explained that the man had been pursuing her for months through business circles. What had been presented as a casual dinner had turned into an uncomfortable situation that made her feel trapped. Ethan simply nodded. He didn't ask questions. He didn't expect anything. He just wanted to make sure she was safe. The bus arrived. Sophia stared at the old city bus. Then she looked at Ethan and Lily. Something about them touched her deeply. Maybe it was the way Ethan wrapped his jacket around his daughter. Maybe it was the tiredness behind his smile. Or maybe it was the fact that he had risked embarrassment to help a complete stranger. Before leaving, Sophia asked if she could at least buy them dinner someday as a thank you. Ethan politely declined. Then Lily surprised both adults. She told Sophia that her father never accepted help from anyone. Sophia laughed for the first time that evening. And somehow, that simple laugh stayed with Ethan long after they parted ways. What Ethan didn't know was that Sophia Bennett wasn't just another professional woman. She was one of the wealthiest business owners in the country. A self-made billionaire. owner of a massive technology company worth billions. Her face rarely appeared in magazines because she valued privacy. Very few people recognized her in public, especially someone like Ethan, who spent his evenings helping his daughter with school projects instead of following business news. But Sophia couldn't stop thinking about him. Over the following weeks, she found herself remembering small details. The kindness in his eyes. The way he protected Lily. The humility that seemed so rare among the wealthy executives she dealt with every day. Most people wanted something from her. Contracts. Investments. Connections. Power. Ethan had wanted nothing. That made him unforgettable. Eventually, Sophia decided to find him. It wasn't difficult. A few inquiries led her to the maintenance company where he worked. What she discovered broke her heart. Ethan was working overtime nearly every day. His apartment building needed repairs. His truck barely functioned. His daughter's school tuition was overdue. Yet coworkers describe him as the most generous person they knew. When another employee's son needed surgery, Ethan had donated part of his paycheck. When elderly tenants needed assistance, Ethan volunteered. When someone struggled, Ethan showed up. Always. Sophia found herself admiring him more with every story she heard. One afternoon she appeared at the building where Ethan was repairing an elevator. He was shocked to see her. Sophia claimed she was nearby and wanted to properly thank him. They shared coffee at a small cafe. Then another coffee the following week. And another after that. Friendship developed naturally. For the first time in years, Ethan felt himself smiling again. Not because his problems disappeared, but because Sophia listened. She cared. She remembered things. When he talked about his wife, she listened quietly. When he talked about Lily, her eyes softened. When he talked about his fears, she never judged him. Meanwhile, Sophia discovered something she had been missing her entire life. Genuine connection. No business negotiations. No hidden motives. No carefully calculated conversations. Just honesty. As months passed, Lily became attached to Sophia as well. The little girl adored her. They baked cookies together. Visited parks. Read books. For a child who missed having a mother figure, Sophia brought warmth back into parts of her world that had felt empty. But Sophia carried a secret. She still hadn't told Ethan the truth about who she really was. The longer she waited, the harder it became. She feared everything would change. She feared he would see her differently. She feared he might leave. Then the secret exploded unexpectedly. One Saturday morning, Ethan was helping Lily prepare a science project when a luxury vehicle stopped outside their apartment. Several people stepped out carrying equipment. A journalist approached. She asked Ethan how it felt dating Billionaire CEO Sophia Bennett. Ethan froze. The world seemed to stop moving. Billionaire. CEO. The words barely made sense. Within hours, news articles appeared online. Photos. Headlines. Speculation. Everything. When Sophia arrived later that evening, Ethan's expression told her he already knew. The silence between them felt unbearable. Sophia finally confessed everything. She explained why she had hidden her identity. She admitted she was terrified of losing the one relationship in her life that felt real. Ethan listened quietly. Part of him felt hurt. Part of him felt foolish. Most of all, he felt overwhelmed. Their world seemed impossibly different. Sophia lived in luxury. He struggled to pay rent. She attended board meetings. He repaired elevators. How could something like this possibly work? For several weeks, they saw each other less often. The distance hurt both of them. Sophia buried herself in work. Ethan focused on Lily. Yet neither could stop thinking about the other. Then something happened that changed everything. A severe storm struck the city. Flooding damaged neighborhoods across several districts. Ethan spent days helping rescue residents and repair damaged buildings. One evening he became trapped while assisting an elderly couple inside a partially collapsed structure. The situation turned dangerous. Emergency crews worked desperately to reach him. When Sophia heard the news, she rushed to the scene immediately. For hours she stood in the rain, terrified. Not because Ethan was a maintenance worker. Not because he was poor. Not because he was different. But because she loved him. When rescuers finally brought him out safely, exhausted but alive, Sophia broke down in tears. And in that moment Ethan understood something important. Love wasn't about status. It wasn't about wealth. It wasn't about social circles. It was about who stood beside you when life became frightening. Who worried when you were in danger. Who cared when nobody was watching. A few days later, Ethan invited Sophia to the small park where Lily loved feeding ducks. The sun was setting. The sky glowed orange and gold. Sophia arrived nervously. Ethan looked at her and smiled. For the first time since learning the truth. He admitted that her secret had hurt. But he also admitted something else. The woman he had fallen for wasn't the billionaire from the headlines. It was the woman who baked cookies with Lily. The woman who listened to his stories. The woman who stood in the rain waiting for news during the rescue. That woman was real. And that woman was the one he loved. Sophia cried openly. Years of loneliness seemed to melt away. Because for the first time, someone loved her for who she was, not what she owned. The years that followed were not perfect. Every relationship faces challenges. But they faced them together. Sophia used her resources to create charitable programs for struggling single parents. Not because Ethan asked her to, but because he inspired her. Ethan continued working, refusing to let wealth define his identity. And Lily finally gained something she thought she had lost forever. A complete family. Before we reach the ending, I have a special request. Please comment the word kindness below if you believe one small act of kindness can completely change someone's life. Years later, during an interview, Sophia was asked what the greatest investment of her life had been. The reporter expected her to mention a company. A technology breakthrough. A billion-dollar acquisition. Instead, she smiled and spoke about a rainy evening when a struggling single father walked into a restaurant to help a stranger. She said that one courageous act had changed her future forever. Not because it saved her from an uncomfortable date, but because it reminded her that goodness still existed in the world. And that goodness led her to love. If this story touched your heart, please like the video, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these inspiring stories reach more people who may need hope today. Because sometimes the richest person in the room isn't the one with billions of dollars. Sometimes it's the person whose heart is still kind after life has given them every reason not to be. And in the end, that kind of wealth is priceless.